Hi everybody, Leslie here. I'm making my Father's Day card today. This one's going to be for my father-in-law who was in the Navy many years ago. So I thought it'd be fun to do something with maps. So I went through my stash and I found things with maps on. I've got this one, which is a really old Do Crafts, part of their urban stamps range, and that's all aboard map. So we're going to do something fun with that. I've got this one, which is a much more recent one. This is, I don't know if I'm going to say her name right. She's called Lizia Zagarda Design. I think she's Ukrainian, so it's been quite nice to support her over the last few years. And I've got this, which is the Manly Sentiments from Daisy B, which is Nina Crafts. I got this one, if you watched any of my haul videos, I got this one at Sandown in January. And it's got a nice Father's Day in a different font. And I thought I'd do something with this 3D embossing folder because I've never used it. And I thought we'll do manly colours. So I've got some craft card, which is just a piece out of my stash. I've got Gathered Twig, Walnut Stain, and Catherine Pooler's Over Coffee. So we've got some Distress Oxides and some, this one's dye ink. And I thought probably a nice black card blank. We'll see where we go. I might not use that. I've not decided yet. So let's get started. I'm probably going to go for an A6 card. So let me just chop this down. I've got a little bit of extra to play with so that I can always trim it down in a minute. You should be able to see that. So we've gone for about 11 by 15. I'm thinking pop the... This is really quite detailed. It's a red rubber stamp. And I'm thinking if I pop this, probably, I might repeat stamp it. So if I pop it so it's roughly halfway, and then I know that this is slightly wider, so I'm not worried about the edges. So let's do that. Now, I think that that might be slightly thinner. I might actually need shim or something underneath. This is the problem. Not all stamp companies make exactly the same thickness of stamps. So even though this is a red rubber, it's obviously not as thick a foam on the back as some of the red rubber ones. Yeah, that's looking better now. We've got our stamp background, and I've got this, which is an A6, so this is going to be slightly wider, and I need to work out what the right sandwich is because I've never used this folder. Yeah, so and there we go. I thought I was going to do it the other way around, but actually I quite like that. So hopefully you can see we've got a nice 3D texture and the back's the other way. So I've got to decide whether I like it that way up. I think I do. Okay, so we've got all that out of the way. So we've got our background with our stamping. We've embossed it. And I think we're going to do a bit of inking around the edge. So before I do that, I need to bring it down to the size that I ultimately want it to be. I think I'm going to go with a walnut stain. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe it would show up if we did something floating on acetate. Let's have a go. So let's get some StazOn and a stamp block. This is just isopropyl alcohol that I put in a old bottle, because this is actually saved acetate. This is just off some packaging, but so I don't think it's particularly clean. So we've got an acrylic block. These are, I think these are photopolymer stamps. Though it's not wide enough that way. Right, let's go. Okay. Now, you don't want to leave stays on when you stamp for long. Perhaps we'll take the cover off the ink. So StazOn is a solvent-based ink which dries on slick surfaces like acetate, which is why I'm using it. And I'm just going to stamp somewhere in the middle of this piece, and then we'll decide how we're going to cut it out. So let me put some white in there behind it so you can see too. So that's stamped pretty well for acetate. But I am just going to go clean this before it dries on there. And really important, because this is not a red rubber stamp and I've used it with StazOn, and I've just put some alcohol on, is to clean it with some water afterwards as well. So now, it's a bit hard to see on the camera. So now I've got my acetate with, so I've got my map in the background, and then I've got my acetate with my map stamped in black on it. And I've got to decide how I'm going to attach it, because that's the hardest thing if you do anything. And this will just take a minute or two to dry because it is a slick surface. And I don't want to heat it because I don't know if this is heat resistant acetate or not. Yeah, see, I could do something like put the Father's Day on a little strip and then hide the yeah, and then hide that, the whatever I used to stick it down behind it. So let's just stamp this on here, and then we can work out how we're going to cut it out. And let's go with the same over coffee ink that we used on the background. So I think I'm going to fussy cut this out. And I think I'm going to find some vellum that I can put behind the acetate mat. I could, of course, have stamped straight on the vellum. This is just a scrap. So yeah, you can still see the map through. Now I've done it, I think I might do that and see what it looks like. Yeah, I've just grabbed off my magnet board on my wall one of my circle dies. It's just about bigger than it, so I think we're going to go with that. So now there's like a groove that the scissors just sort of drop into. So now we've got two options. We could go with what was the original idea and do a happy and Father's Day and have it on the acetate, or we could go with the vellum and the acetate, and you could almost just offset it slightly with the brown underneath. I'm not sure about that, but or I could do a slightly bigger just plain vellum, or we could have just the vellum. Decisions. think I'm going to go with the acetate. I know it doesn't look great on camera, but in real life it looks, you can see it quite clearly. And I think to pull the black in, because I think we're going to put this on the black card and I might trim a bit more off, I think I'm going to go with, this isn't too dissimilar a font. This is from Die Cutting Essentials number 99, which was Terrific Tulips. So I'm thinking that if I do Happy out of black, or I could do it in the Craft and pop it up there. Again, it's just somewhere to put the sticky behind. So that we've got a way to attach the acetate with some little foam pads from behind. So I could always redo the Father's Day in black, because it's getting a bit lost there. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the happy, redo. Actually, I could just overstamp, hold my breath and go for it. And hopefully, if I miss the brown, it will just look, I need to do it so I can see right over the top. So I'm doing right at the bottom of the screen. The brown will probably just look like a shadow layer. And if it doesn't come out, it's just a piece of paper. Oh, that's not too bad. So it doesn't get quite so lost on there now, I bet. Yeah, you can see it now. So that was getting a bit lost. So let's do, yeah, let's do this out of black. I think that's wide enough that we'd be able to get something behind it to stick that down. Okay, so I've got that. I think it's, did I do 5? I think it's 5 layers thick with the textured paper that I had on the top. Now I need to decide if I'm going to cut this down anymore, because I was thinking of putting it on this black card blank. Yeah, at the moment I cut it to be roughly the same size. It's exactly the same size. But now I'm thinking, let's trim it down a little bit more so that we get a nice black edge, and then all the black will tie in with the black card. So I'm just going to trim this down. And I think I will just pop a bit more ink back. Making sure I get the mat the right way up. I think we're going to put that flat onto the card, but it's got texture to it. Then we're going to use our greetings top and bottom to get this floating, and we will hide all of the sticky to hold the acetate underneath those, because I know that my tape runner is pretty good sticking to acetate, so I'm just going to use tape runner on the back of my Father's Day. There you go. I think we've got enough back there. Oh no, before we do that, let's stick the panel to the card. Yeah, I think we need to get the north, south, east, west in line with the lines on the background. So there we go. Hopefully, without catching the light too much, you can see that in real life, the map hanging out there on the acetate in the middle really does stand out. And then we've got the subtle map in the background, and we've got a nice bit of texture. So although it's quite a dark looking card, there's quite a lot going on, and there's lots of texture. So hopefully my father-in-law will like that. Okay, so I actually thought I'd show you what I'm going to do for the inside. So if you remember, we stamped on this piece of vellum and decided not to use it on the front. So I thought I'd use it on the inside, because otherwise it will just end up in my bits box forevermore. So because this is black card blank, like I said, we need to do something on the inside. So I've just cut a piece of, it's about 160 GSM. It's very lightweight card or heavyweight paper, somewhere between the two really at 160. So I just chopped it, so it's just very slightly shorter than my A6 card blank. And I'm just going to score it in half. And because it's an insert and we need it to sit inside here, like I said, I've made it slightly shorter already. And just so it doesn't end up poking out, I'm just going to trim. Now I've scored it a tiny bit off this edge as well. What I thought I'd do for my insert was something like stick this here, and then this stamp set. This is, I think, from 2017, and it came with a magazine, but I think I've seen the stamps as a digital stamp on either probably on Craft World or Craft Stash recently, and they've got a really nice happy and Father's Day, or you can do happy birthday obviously. And there is on my channel a video using this. I'll try and link it somewhere around. So I used this in 2017 when it first came out, but I think I used it for birthday cards, I can't remember. But I thought I'd just do something like that for my insert. So there we go. So rather than leaving something to sit in my scraps box forevermore, I've used it on the inside along with another stamp. If I can find a link to it, I'll link this on Craft World or Craft Stash or wherever it was that I saw it. I'll have a search and link it in the description. So there we go. Happy Father's Day with a bit of a world map theme. Hope you like it, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.